Right, so today we have Paul Smith of Clobber magazine. How are you, mate?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
Just had a lot of messages about this European Super League. Woke up this morning to lots of emails and loads of stuff on Twitter and Facebook about it. I'll ask you a little bit about that later on.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, can you tell me what is Clobber magazine?
Yeah. Club magazine basically is a blog just dedicated to casual fashion and fashion in general, and my own irreverent sort of take on it. Really, nothing too serious. Very passionate about clothes, trainers, Clobber, and after doing a bit of blogging for a well-known store in Liverpool called Giancarlo Ricci, I applied to work for another online magazine, which all seemed to be going fine, and then that didn't work out. And then I thought I'd just launch my own, and 2018 wrote the first article for that, published it, and because I'm on most of the football groups, the selling pages and stuff, it got around quite quick, and it just started from there, really.
Okay, yeah, because it sounds to me, it sounds like the content of my stuff and your stuff is very, very similar.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised we haven't come across each other before.
I know. Funny how many good people you meet, and then you think you've met everyone, really. Then obviously someone like yourself, someone introduces someone like yourself, and I think it's such a big scene now. And I think particularly with the over 40s, the 40-somethings onwards, connecting more with the online world, it's just bringing more people into the fold. I mean, it's amazing how many good people that I've met through it, and that's opened up doors for all sorts of things as well. And just to hear people's own stories and their take on things as well, it's really good.
Yeah. So we'll go back to Clobber magazine, mate. I was going to ask you why you started up Clobber magazine.
Yeah.
But you've kind of already told me, because you applied and was going to work for another online magazine, and that went wrong, or it just fizzled out.
Yeah, I mean, they're really well known. I won't mention who they are. They're well known in Northwest. They're a powerhouse. They produce a paper magazine as well. And they asked me to do some sample pieces, which I did. And they were saying, yeah, it's fine. We'll give you a login for the site. But then I didn't hear from them for a week or two. And then I didn't get a reply to a couple of emails, which I thought was rude, really. You know, if you didn't want to take it forward, or you didn't think my stuff was good enough, just come back and say it's not for us. But they just basically blanked me. And that sort of spurred me, really, to think, well, I think I can do this. And it gave me a bit of anger to go. We sat in a restaurant, funny enough, one night, me and my good lady, and I said, I'm going to launch my own magazine online without having a paper backup to it. Call it Clobber magazine, knew exactly what it looked like, what it would be like, what the content would be like, and she went, do it. And within 2 weeks, it was up online, really. So initially, I was starting writing 2-3 articles a day, and that slowed down a bit. I had a couple of young contributors come along as well, and sort of come and go. To do a lot for a few weeks, and then they move on to other things. So sometimes I'll put an article a day, sometimes it's 3 a week, sometimes it's 2 a week. I'd rather have something a bit more quality to it rather than just quantity, you know what I mean? And I think when I first started blogging, I didn't really have my own style because I was doing it for other people. So I was dead conscious about the paying customer who's paying me to do the work, and then obviously thinking more about how people would perceive the way I wrote things rather than just writing things that the way I wanted to. And as soon as I did this, it was just like the gloves are off, and I'm going to write my own way and use whatever diction I like. And if I want to use any profanities or anything, I would. And people will either like it or they don't. And it's got around quite well, actually. It's got its own cult following. It's not big, but it's not tiny either. So, and it's pure non-profit. I mean, initially I thought I'd get set loads of advertising and do this, do that, but I'm too busy with other things. And I thought, well, I don't want to make money out of it. I just want to bring my thoughts and things to the world, really. I don't, pretend to be no expert on fashion and stuff. I'm quite clued up on certain brands. I've got a big collection of things, but it's not to preach to anyone what to wear. It's just, this is what I think's good, and this is where you can buy it from.
Yeah, I think once you stop worrying about what people think, I think you kind of crack on, and like you said, they either like it or they don't. and you have to write for you, not other people.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you that being blanked or not even have an email to say it's not working out, it is rude.
Yeah.
But it spurred you on, so really you got something positive out of it, which I think.
Yeah, of course.
You said you quite clued up about some brands, and I mean this is going to be a conversation that I'm really interested in. Is that the casual scene? Yes, there is violence. I do understand that, but it's not all about that.
No.
And this is why, with my website, UK Casuals, I try and portray that it's about camaraderie. It's its own subculture. There's there's brands. There's a certain way we dress. So I'll ask you. This leads on to my next question. What are your favourite brands?
Without a doubt, for me, Stone Island, CP Company. A lot of the sports brands from years ago, Fila, Tashini, Adidas, of course. General Italian wear in general, really. But for me, CP, Stone Island. I mean, for me, the goggle jacket's the ultimate sort of outwear to wear, really. It's like a wearable piece of art. There's nothing quite like it. There's so many millions of variants of them now and so many different designs, but it's as if when you look at a goggle jacket, I know I've heard someone say before, when it's on a hanger in a wardrobe, it's like someone's inside it wearing it. It's got a life of its own. And they're my two key bands. I love the work of Massimo Osti, fantastic, and obviously what Paul Harvey carried that on. And then when Paul Harvey and Alessandro Pungetti went back to CP, they sort of took CP in a different direction in the last few years, and they've done well with it. I think CP was a little bit dated, and it was the big military pockets and stuff like that. And I think they've done something fantastic with it, really. And I just absolutely, I can't get enough of either brand.
Okay. What I would like to ask you about is a lot of clothing brands used to shy away from the casual scene, and if their brand was being seen on the terraces, but now there's a few clothing brands out there like Peaceful Hooligan and Weekend Defender, which I am a massive fan of. What's your thoughts on them?
I loved them. I mean, one of my favourite jackets, funnily enough, is the Hella jacket, Weekend Defender Hella jacket from a few years ago. 4-pocket piece with the mosquito net concealed in the hood, which was a feature of the Swiss Army Alpenflieger jacket. And I wear that going out for the walks in the evenings and stuff like that, as you do in lockdown. And I probably wear that in the last year more than any of my other jackets that I've got, which I've got quite a few. It's lightweight. It's got a nice shimmer to it. It's really good. I love what Weekend Defender have always done, really. I like the attitude of the brand. I like I think they're masters of inner labels, aren't they? Their inner labels on some of the clothes are just out of this world. And it's a good price.
Yeah.
And again, Peaceful Hooligan as well. It's got a good look and it's a good price point, and it's nice gear. Of course, if you're paying $150 for a jacket as opposed to £1,100, there's going to be a difference in quality, and may not be garment dyed and so on, but it can still look good. And I think out the two, I'd say Weekend Defender the most. It's just got so much attitude, and the way they've really established themselves with that flagship store in Milan, and it's amongst all the big brands, and it's really been taken on board by the Italians, I think, as well. It's big, and I'm really happy to see it do so well, and especially on the terraces and stuff. It's really good.
Yeah. I'd just like to sort of, I mean, this is probably going to be a really hard question, but what's your favourite footwear?
Obviously trainers, but when I was a kid, it was the classic Adidas. I think the favourite pair ever, the favourite silhouette is the original Gazelle. I just think it's a beautiful shoe, beautifully made shoe. It feels beautiful. But I'm not a massive collector of Adidas, really, because towards the end of the 80s, when I was sort of leaving school, that at the time, Gazelles and stuff was seen as old hat. You just moved with the times when you was young, and there was a lot of Nike being worn and things. And then there was other brands sort of popping up, like British Knights and Champion and things like that. So I was wearing quite a lot of different things towards the end of the decade. And I think as I've got older, I've always liked to. I think it's something that's been lost in the casual scene. When I think the young lads now, you see them on these away day trips on trains and stuff, and they send photographs, and they all look the same, and they're wearing the same stuff. There's no sort of real desire to wear something different. I look out for trainers. I love Italian trainers like Pantofolo d'Oro. I love Saucony. I love Vega. Something that looks different. And even now, the weekends you go shopping, you go into a place like Flannels or something, and you want lads to look at your shoes and what you've got on, and not just be the standard uniform. I think for some of the young ones, it's nice to see them dressed, and I just think there's not enough originality amongst them, and it's so too easy to get a classic Adidas gum sole shoe and get a CP goggle jacket or a Snowline jacket, but you can look the same. I think, you know, especially when I was young, and you'd see all the lads going to the match. We used to live near City's original ground, Main Road, although I'm a United fan. And that's when I really become conscious of the diamond Pringle jumpers, the tennis gear and stuff like that. And although they were all the same brands, they all had something different on. None, they never had, no two people ever had the same thing. I think that's been lost a little bit. And I think with one way you can really continue that is with trainers. If you have a good look around, there's some really good quality trainers out there, decent price point, and not too many people are wearing as well. So that's what I tend to try and do. But overall, for the question, I mean, Adidas, the Gazelle or the Trim Traps, probably the Gazelle first, Trim Trap second.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Paul. I think that there almost became a uniform for people to wear on the terraces, and like you said, it was all too easy to get a Stone Island jacket, a pair of Levi's, and any Adidas trainers, and you thought you looked the part. I mean, for me personally, I really like the tennis wear. I think it's a different look. It's obviously it goes back to the 80s for me. So I really sort of like that look. I am a fan of Stone Island and CP Company, you know, don't get me wrong, but I'm more I like the 80s look in the tennis wear. I really do. The Pringle jumper thing, I mean, is smart, and I think that's for the older gent on the terraces. With maybe a boat shoe instead of Adidas, and stuff, because it's not all about trainers. You know, you can wear shoes and still be casual. Of course. And I think there's a lot of stuff on social media that the young guys coming into it think that you have to wear Adidas. And I don't necessarily think that's right. I lead on to my next question, which is kind of going off the clothes a little bit. Is football films, do you rate them or not?
Sorry, football
films.
Yeah, I mean, the films about the actual lads. Yeah, I mean, I love Nick Love's films, obviously Football Factory and his remake of The Firm. I just done an article today about a T-shirt that's got it's a Weekend Offender one that's got a scene from the original Firm where the Yeti drives his car onto the pitch at the beginning of the film, and I think Nick Love's film's better than the original one. The original one, like Gary Oldman and Scene Up is his thing. That you can't say that because it's such an iconic film, and it is. But I think Nick Love's film,
very true. Yeah,
wardrobe supplied by 80s casual classics, absolutely out of this world, sensational. And people said he overdone it with the tracksuits. Like it can never be too much for me. I just thought the wardrobe in that's great. I thought Paul Anderson playing Bex in his first major role as well. He just nailed it. And I thought the film was brilliant. And I never liked Green Street. I thought that was pretty poor, to be honest. It could have been something really good, and I thought some dodgy Cockney accents. And I just thought the story was dead cheesy. The Yank coming over and joining the film, which is, I don't know, you've probably come across Derek Alvarez now, the American Miami Casuals guy. You know, he's threatening everyone and anyone, and it's a bit cheesy. I think, but I do love the football films. I remember one of the first ones I ever remember watching was a BBC one called Arrivederci Millwall's, made in the early 80s. About
I haven't seen that, but I've seen it mentioned a lot. Yeah,
it set me on my way when I was a kid, because the story of these Cockney lads who'd going out robbing clothes and stuff, earned some money to go to the World Cup, and then they went to the Spain '82 World Cup. It was really, really good. And I've always had an interest in it. Then when The Firm came along, and then ID, and then Football Factory really, I think, brought it to another generation. Danny Dyer was the man of the moment at the time, and it was a good film again. I mean, you look at a Nick Love film, whether it's The Business, The Firm, Football Factory, he's got his trademark on it. You know, with the first few lines, it's a Nick Love film, but I love the football films. Yeah, to go back to the original question.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Green Street. I've interviewed Dougie Brimson, who wrote it, and he actually, because I actually was quite honest with him, and I agree with you that Green Street could have been a good film. And he agreed with me. And some of the stuff I said to him, he said I was trying to say to the director, which was a woman. And in the end, he got chucked off set. They told him leave because we want to do it our way. Because at the end of the day, it's Hollywood. When they got Elijah Wood, he actually thought they were joking. But they were serious, and it happened, and you know. So I think it's a shame because Green Street he's had nothing to do with the sequels. I don't know if you've seen them. I mean, they're absolute trash.
20 of the first follow-up, and that was the end. I just turned it off because I followed Dougie Brimson's Facebook page, and he's. I know you've probably seen A Casual Life that he did, the short film.
Yeah, brilliant.
That is probably, to me, one of the best football films on that genre that's ever been, really. Although it's short, I think it's just the narration over it, the guy who plays the characters, the camera, the monologue and stuff, really, really good. And I could imagine Dougie Brimson not being very happy with that, because with the Green Street, considering the books that he's written and his life as well, from a serviceman and then to his life into the football scene and stuff. So I can imagine him not being very happy. But like say Hollywood, then another director gets all of it, doesn't understand the genre, doesn't understand the scene. That's probably the end result of it, really. And to get Elijah Wood in it, I mean, you'd at least go for someone, Brad Pitt or something like that. Someone who could play that role, I think. You just think of the those films that he was in much further, the mythical films, So,
With the interview with Dougie is on my YouTube channel, which this interview will be going next to. And I've interviewed quite a few terrace casuals. I mean, my YouTube channel's only been going a couple of months because I've interviewed quite a lot of ex-casuals that have gone on to write books, and now they're doing whatever they're doing. But the reason I started my YouTube channel was to bring the interviews off the paper, because you can write down questions and they can answer them. But when we're having a chat like this, more stuff comes out. Which definitely is why because I'm not a top-notch interviewer or anything like that. But I just thought I was looking on YouTube for stuff that interested me, and there wasn't really much about the casuals, or if it was made years ago. And I think it's a shame. Did you come across the new magazine that's just come out, Pananero?
Pananero, yeah. I've not got a copy of it yet, but I know someone who knows the guy who's involved with it, which actually brings me to a point. So I was hoping it would come up, really. Like the whole Pananero scene in Italy at the time was really good, and I loved the Moncler jackets, the Stone Island, the Timberlands, but the whole look itself wasn't totally cool. I mean, people have this sort of rose-tinted look about it now. Those big American belt buckles they wore, the Burlington, Argyle stuff. To me, that wasn't cool at all. You know what I mean? And I think there's this image now, the Chris Lowe image, the Pet Shop Boys image, the classic album cover, with those really cool shades on and stuff. I did a T-shirt with it a couple of years ago, and it's pretty cool. And Chris Lowe, it's got some iconic images, but generally, I don't think he was a cool dresser as such. I mean, when I grew up around Moss Side, Manchester, you couldn't say he was a Pet Shop Boys fan as a kid. You'd have got bullied off the street type of thing. They wasn't as being cool. We were into hip-hop, street soul, reggae, that type of thing. And I think the whole Pananero thing, I believe the magazine's blinding, by the way. But I think the way there's this whole mythology around the Pananero thing and what it really meant and what it was all about. I did an early piece on it when I first started blogging, and I wasn't too clued up, really. And I look back at it now and I think that could have been a lot better. But like I say, they were cool, and the Pananero, they were cool, the bikes and the jackets and stuff, but those big belt buckles, those big Western things, I mean, we seem dead in one of them. And like I said, the socks, I never got that, and the turn-ups on the jeans, my mum used to make me have turn-ups down jeans when I was a kid, you know what I mean? So, not a cool look at all, but the magazine I believe it's blind, and so I'm hoping my mate's going to lend me a copy, because it's sold out dead quick. It was gone.
I mean, I spoke to one of the editors when it was first coming out, and I sort of thought, yeah, I'll order a magazine, I'll get round to it. And by the time I did, they were sold out. You can still get it online. I believe it's £4. I've got it, and I had a look through it. I mean, I think it's 82 pages, and there's nothing. I think they've hit a niche because there's nothing quite like it out there at the moment. There's other magazines that mention casual style, but there's not a magazine out there apart from yours that is all about casuals. You know, they'll put some films in it, you know, a bit of aftershave, you know, stuff like that. And it's just this I think this magazine is going to be really good. Their next one's due out in June, and it's based in London, because the first one was Edinburgh, all about Hibs and original casuals, who I've also interviewed on my website. Really good guys. They actually sent me a bit of clobber, which I
cool
really
t-shirts, aren't
they? Which sort of leads me on to my next question. You started a clothing line called Paper Tiger, didn't you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and completely sort of detached from terrace casual, really, because we did a friend, me and a guy I knew, did some t-shirts a few years ago. They were unadulterated terrace casual shirts. We did a Chris Lowe Pananaro one, and we did one as well called Casual Fornication. I don't know if you remember the Red Hot Chili Peppers symbol, their actual band symbol. And because of the track Californication, we basically got that logo. We put Casual Company, which was the name of the brand that we were doing at the time. And then in the red bit that fills the thing, we just filled it with a watermark of all the football firms of the UK. And I thought, that is a winner. That's a t-shirt that everyone would buy it. And then when I launched it online, suddenly people going, I'm not going to wear a t-shirt and Aberdeen soccer casuals on it. I'm not going to have a thing with Intercity Jibbers on it. And it sort of misread the market. Although it's a cool design, I thought. To me, it was a celebration of casual firms, not. And there was so much stick on social media. I won't wear that with them on it. And this, that, and the other. And I said, you're missing the point. You know, it's not about you'd wear something with ICF. It's all about the firms and stuff like that. So we sold a handful of them. The Pananaro ones flew out. We sold a handful of them. So when I come to do this brand, there's a guy who's doing in the brand we call Patrick Taylor, who's half my age basically, and he dresses somewhere between, I'd say, streetwear and terrace casual. Loves his clothes, loves his trainers and jackets and stuff. And he's quite a good artist, and he wanted to get into doing a brand. And I said, well, I've got some trade contacts to do it. And I decided just to go away from the terrace casual thing altogether, because there's so many good independent brands really doing it at the moment. And I thought I'd get a younger perspective on things. So the whole Paper Tiger thing come about because it was a quote by the infamous dictator Chairman Mao once getting interviewed in China, and he described America and the West as being a paper tiger. They appear to be a threat, but the threat at all, or a paper tiger. So what we decided to do, we're going to make clothes that were 100% or close to it organic cotton. They were Fair Wear Foundation approved, got certified, all the rest of it. And because fashion's the second largest polluter on the planet, our clothes are a paper tiger. They're not a threat to the environment that other clothes are, not the industry is in general. So that was the whole concept of the brand. And we just said we're going to go big on logos and t-shirts, really high quality hoodies, sweats, and take it from there, really. So we've done our first few pieces. We got slowed down by the pandemic, obviously, and it stopped us in our tracks. But what we did at the time, we was working on our online store, working on the logos and stuff. So we kept plugging away in the background, and now we're at the point where we're starting to release stuff. It's been really well received, so we're just hoping that we can take that to a bigger market. I mean, as I touched on before, going back to the end of the 80s, and sort of like in Manchester at the time, you had like the whole Manchester scene coming through. While I lived in Moss Side, it was really strong reggae, street soul scene, underground music, funk and things like that. So I was wearing streetwear stuff anyway. It wasn't just as if you're wearing lowest chords and gazelles and stuff. You know, I was wearing big Nike trainers, baggy jeans, Joe Blogs, that type of thing. Nice big hoodies. Naf Naf first came along as a big brand, not the Nafco thing you saw, but I remember, don't know where my mate acquired it from, but he got me a lovely Naf Naf hoodie for about 20 quid, a proper one. It was really smart. So I've gone through all that before, so I understand streetwear anyway. And I think we'll probably sort of stick between streetwear and sort of terrace casual if we can. But I think we've really got something, and I think we're going to stick to this organic ethos, and the clothes are so well made. They're beautiful to touch, to feel. We've got loads of designs and stuff lined up, so we're just going to see how that goes and not putting too much pressure on ourselves. Just launched our online store. There's only 4 products on it at the moment, but I'll be doing the blog on there as well, which I've called a journal for that website. And we'll just see how it goes, you know what I mean? But Patrick's a really enthusiastic guy. He's a cool guy. He knows what's what. So he's more in touch maybe with the younger generation than I am as well. And we've got our irons in the fire with a couple of retailers and stuff. So we'll just see what happens with that. And for the moment, we just want to concentrate on making good quality stuff in small numbers. And the minute we sell enough of one product, we're making the next. So the process of that's organic as well, rather than just throw a load of money at it, which we could have put some money into it. We said we'll just start with basically a few £100 and snowball. We'll get money in, we'll get the next products. So I'm really excited about that, and we'll just see where that goes. Hopefully in a year's time, I'd be able to come back and say we're doing this, doing that, and it's gone really well. But where I'm Mancunian, but I live in Liverpool, and I've been in Liverpool for like 14 years, and it's a really cool city for Clobber. It's where the casual scene really took off from. If you can make something decent in this city here, you never need to sell it anywhere else, because the Scousers spend money on clothes relentlessly. It's just luxury fashion in Liverpool. Not how much the flannel store takes and the other clothes shops, but it's a really cool place for things like that. So we believe that if we can hit it off here first, maybe it could be something, but maybe.
You never know. You never
know. You never know.
I mean, I'll go back to Clobber magazine. Have you ever had any ideas to put it into print for an actual magazine like Pananero did?
Yeah, I mean, it's crossed my mind a few times. I've just always been too busy, really. And then, again, nowadays, the sort of paper mags are sort of coming to an end a bit, I think, because the environmental impacts of things. And I think to do that, I'd have to take it on a purely business footing and go, right, I need to get advertisers, I need to get backers, I need to get sponsors. And that's something I originally wanted to do anyway. But because, again, COVID sort of ruined everything, so I just thought I'd keep the mag going online. It's cheap, it's easy to do, it's not costing, paying hosting fees and your domain fees, and the rest is just your own time. And I think sometimes as well, because if you've got sponsors, you've got to dance to their tune a bit, and there's that magazine I'd applied for, sort of stuff they write, and it's really good and quite short and snappy, but it always relates to, on their website at least, one of the stores that are their backers. So with me, I'll say you can buy this product from anywhere. And if someone's got an independent brand, someone's starting a new brand, get in touch and send me your photographs, tell me about your brand, and I'll do a piece for you. Not going to cost you anything. And I'll share anyone's work, and more than happy to do that. I think it'd be nice to get to maybe do a printed edition or two. But again, it's getting that to market as well. And are people really going to buy that when you can go on your website and get the same content for free? So I might have done myself out of it. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, you are right. What you're saying, the paper magazine industry, since the invention of the internet, everything's online now. It's all digital. But I think the reason, just my theory, why the Pananero magazine sold out so quickly was it because it was something you could hold and read and look at, and instead of just going on a screen, and then after you've read it, you sort of turn your computer off and that's it. But with a printed magazine, it's there on your table. So that's my theory why I think, because it's sold, I think it was a week. That's really, really quick.
I think it's like holding a vinyl in your hand and getting downloading a track. In the early 90s,
sort of thing.
I was DJing on a radio station in Manchester, pirate station at the time, called Love Energy FM, and everything we had was on vinyl. I've still got all my vinyl now, and I think now with young ones downloading tracks at 99 pence a single and stuff, I used to just love on the weekends going into second-hand record shops in Manchester and looking for the bargain boxes and finding gems in there for £2, £3, £4. Something tangible you can bring home. Even now with the electronic decks they've got for mixing MP3s and stuff, it's not the same as mixing on vinyl. It's just a completely different thing. So maybe that's what it is. And was so nice to see it come out as well and do really well. I'll make sure I get a copy of the next one. But yeah, you're probably right. I think it is that's something you can hold. Again, I don't like online shopping. I don't like ordering anything online. If I can help it, I go to the shop and buy it.
Yeah,
because you can try it on, really see what it looks like in the mirror. It's nothing worse than so many times I've really wanted things and I've wanted them so much and I've gone and got them and I think it doesn't suit me. And as much as I wanted it to suit me, I'm not going to wear it because it's just not right for me. But when you're doing it online, you're having to send it back, fill in forms, take it somewhere to be picked.
Yeah, so frustrating when you order something online and it's too small or it doesn't look what it looks like in the picture and other stuff like that. I mean, I completely agree with you. There's nothing like going to a clothes shop and trying stuff on and trying trainers on. I mean, the online, it just doesn't add up. It's just completely, I mean, like you said about going and looking for vinyl, and finding really good records for £2 or £3. I mean, that's a known subculture in itself, which I think the younger generation don't even know about, which I think is a shame. But that's the world we live in.
Yeah, it is. And I think I won't, if I have the chance again, I wouldn't be young now. I'd be young at the time I was young again. I'd go through it all again. I mean, living near a football ground, living near Main Road, and we moved there in the very early 80s. And it was when sort of the hooligan scene was in its full height. I mean, when we were kids, we used to mine cars around our match days. That was our little skim out of the games. It's come to mine people's cars when they parked the game. And you'd see it all unfolding. You'd see, I mean, at the time there were real mobs, and Man City had a big mob, and we lived on Platt Lane. There was one of their stands, a Platt Lane stand. We just lived at the back of there. You'd see every single home game. But I was fascinated probably by that as a child, because the young boy, you look up to older boys, and the fact they were fighting and stuff like that seemed quite exciting. But it was noticing the clothes that they had on. I mean, I remember when I was young growing up, one of my sisters was a second generation punk. One of my older brothers was like a smoothie who wore all the suits and then doing mods near us. And I think the casuals come along and they just blew them all away as far as I'm concerned. And it's seen these suddenly bright coloured polo shirts and pastel colours and trainers and brands you've never seen before. And I think it's just the coolest thing ever. And I don't think any subculture has ever changed fashion in the way that has, because these days everyone wears sports gear because of that scene. Even though you see some of the young lads now in the dark tracksuits and the dark trainers and they don't really put a lot of effort into it, it changed fashion forever. I think up until the late 70s, most people wore shoes, boots, whatever. Sports gear was for playing sporting, really. And I think the casuals really left its mark. It's more than left its mark. It changed society forever. They had the Fashion of Counterculture exhibition 2 years ago at John Moores University, which was organised by Transalpino and Jay Montessori. He's probably the guy in this country when it comes to casual clobber scene, and his collection is vast, second to none. And that really sort of spells out how it changed everything. And I just don't think there'll ever be anything like it again, really. And it's so relevant now. I like to say that we were saying earlier on, there's a bit of a uniform about it these days and stuff, but to me, it's the ultimate scene, really. It stood the test of time, where the mods, the rockers, the skins and stuff, they faded with their music.
Away. Yeah.
And I think
this will be my sort of last question to you, Paul. I noticed you did an article about Transalpino with the Wade Smith painting. Outside of their store. Now, obviously, I'm on the South Coast, so I've only seen it on the internet. What's it actually like in real life?
It's unbelievable, because where they've drawn it, that was where it's painted rather. That's where the original Wade Smith shop was. It's now a takeaway. What they've done down the side of the building, they've recreated what the shop looked like, with a guy in the outside down the side of the shop. And 2 years ago, I used to work just around the corner from there in the city centre. So every day, I walk and get my lunch. I walk past it. It's out of this world. Because Wade Smith, really, obviously you know all about Wade Smith.
Yeah.
Pretty much single-handedly brought the casual scene to the Northwest and created it almost with that shop that he had. I think his first lot of stuff he brought over in a van, it went in that shop and the shop was burgled and lost all his gear, and then he had to start again. But I think that memory is very important, because years later, long before I lived in Liverpool, they moved to a much bigger store on the other side of town, and I don't really know what happened to Wade Smith in the end. Mike went out of business. I never really followed the history of it, but I'm aware of his history to the casual scene as such. And that, if you ever get to go to Liverpool, go and go see that mural. You'd love it because it's full size. You can stand in the doorway and stuff. It's really cool. So when we've been on nights out with the missus, I always go, let's go around there. And I don't know how many pictures I've had taken there, but
it looks really cool online. I mean, but to see it in real life, I think, it would be. It's something that if I was in the northwest, I'd definitely go and have a look. I
mean, Transalpino's it's such a for your rare trainers and stuff.
What I've seen and what I've read about it, Transalpino's is a fantastic store. I mean, they've got almost got a culture of their own. You know, it goes back. Okay, Paul, it's been really nice to
likewise
to interview you. You obviously know your stuff, you know your history, you know the subculture of it. So that was Paul Smith of Clobber magazine, and there'll be more interviews and videos coming out on on UK Casuals soon.